Take that with a grain of salt because I'm generally searching and call the lack of love in Orthodox. Put me off. What lack of love? So, I hear that I've heard this, but this is usually a very feminine critique. You know, the problem is like I'm going to tell you. I want to tell you something, backseat general. You probably, like many women, conflate love with being nice, not realizing these are not actually the same concepts. The time of Jesus Christ, you called somebody a whitewashed tomb or a viper. Those were you get for them words. You understand? Like, it's not like in modernity where you can call somebody a name and just walk away with it. If you called somebody a whitewashed tomb or a viper or any of the other various insults which Christ used, you could get for those things. Dead. So what's happened in modernity? For some reason, they conflate the idea. They conflate the idea of love with the idea of being nice, and it's like, no, that's true. I'm not a particularly nice man. I'm a very kind man. I'm not particularly nice, but I'm not supposed to be. I'm not called to be nice. And I'm called to represent a worldview, and I think I do a good job doing that. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Appreciate that super chat. Mr. Jiggleballs for 20 bucks. I was an atheist my entire life. I'm 29. I recently accepted Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Feels amazing. My question is, how do I go about reading the Bible? Just start from the first page? Yeah. You go about reading it like you do any book. You start from the first page. You wouldn't start the Lord of the Rings in the middle of it, would you? I don't think so, but yeah, that's usually how you do it. Why do you quote the dark side often? I wonder because they represent evil, right? Given it's funny and cool, not a critique, more curiosity. I don't think so. See, I always took a different message away. I think that George Lucas was trying to convey the idea of like the egalitarian democratic republic as being all the source of good, and that the Jedi were a representation of purity, and that the passions which the Sith they adopted were in some ways evil, and that's what he was trying to convey, right? Is like, oh, if you have passions, you're evil, right? And the Jedi are very stoic, and they're very you know what I mean. And none of that ended up being true. They became arrogant. The Jedi were arrogant. That was their downfall, is their arrogance. The fact that what I always took away from it is that the Jedi are like pious signalers are today in Christian communities. The overly pious signalers, which basically is exactly what a Pharisee was. They were pious signalers. We're very pious. We're very pious. Look, you can watch me as I fast. You can watch. Look at my cheeks. They're gaunt. You can see how much I'm fasting. Oh, everyone look at me as I go give this sacrifice to God. Praise me, right? It's all pious signaling. And really, that's what the Jedi were, and they became very arrogant. They had taken all the things of their passion and they had eliminated them. And in that, they actually adopted something worse, which was arrogance. And that's what did them in. It's like I never thought Star Wars, it's fiction. Almost everything which moves culture is fiction. It's through fiction that we tell stories. And stories are how we interpret the world. We interpret it through stories. Even when somebody tells you how their workday was, they're telling you a story. And half of it is a prism from their view. So it's probably fiction as well. Doesn't mean through fiction you can't learn very good lessons.